Good morning, people. It's good to be with you. We're talking about hungering and thirsting, particularly after righteousness. This is one of the beautiful Beatitudes that Jesus spoke, and this is one of the characteristics of those who name the name of Christ and who choose to follow Him. They hunger and they thirst, like everybody else. It's not a unique phenomenon that only Christians hunger and thirst, but the difference is that Christians should be hungering and thirsting for righteousness. But sadly, we tend to fall into the trend of the world, and we sometimes can hunger and thirst for the same things as they do, only to find at the end of the day that it's like chasing after the wind. Those things will bring us happiness, but not a lot of joy in the long term. Now, we've been talking about different aspects of what this looks like, and I'm going to bunch up the rest of these ones up for you and put them all into one category. There are people who hunger after possessions, people who hunger after popularity and power and prestige and priority. They all want to be priority number one. And there's a genuine hunger in our soul for something more than just a mere existence. And so everything other than to hunger and thirst for righteousness is kind of like a mirage. It kind of, in the desert, it promises much, but it delivers very little. And so we look at this today, we put them all in one category, and I'm reminded of the words of Jesus, where Jesus said, even if you gain the whole world, but lose your own soul, what good is that? Let me put it like this. Even if you gain the whole world and lose your soul, you've been ripped off. You've been ripped off. The world would want you to think that it has something to offer. I'm not saying it doesn't have some nice stuff out there, but if it's at the expense of the gospel, if it's at the expense of our relationship with God, then you have been ripped off. There is nothing finer, nothing better, nothing higher than a genuine, deep relationship with Christ. Sadly, it takes a while for some of us to find this out. Have a look at Solomon. Solomon hungered and thirsted for a whole bunch of stuff. And even though he's sort of renowned for his wisdom, Solomon nearly didn't finish well. He barely finished at all. He got distracted along the way, and he started to take his eyes off his relationship with God, and he began to look at the silver and the gold around him. He began to look at the pleasures that life had to offer. He began to look at the prestige and the popularity that he would gain by being known as the greatest king of all time. Man, and he writes the book of Ecclesiastes, and he says it was a waste of time. Everything that he gained was but loss. We see Paul saying the same thing theologically. He says, even though I have great education and I'm a Pharisee through and through, and he names his credentials, he says, I count it all loss for the name of Jesus. So when we seek after righteousness, it's the most noble search of all. But if you want to seek for righteousness, you may need to let other stuff go. Jesus told that beautiful parable about the guy walking across this field, and he saw in the field he saw a treasure buried there, and he thought, man, that treasure's good. But he didn't steal the treasure. He was a man of integrity, but he went away and he sold all he had so that he could have the field, so that he could have the treasure in the field. And Jesus draws this analogy and this picture for us, that in order for us to seek and to find God, we may need to let go of some of the other stuff. We may need to let go of all the stuff that the world says is so important in order to find that pearl of great price. I hope that we're willing to do that, people, because the search for righteousness is exactly that. Hope you'll find this and think about it today, because I think it's worth thinking about, especially in a world that is so materialistically orientated, especially in a world that measures your success by the number of toys you have. Don't fall for it, people. Don't fall for it. Our hunger and our thirst is exclusively for righteousness. I hope you find that to be true. You're going to have a good day, and we'll see you on Monday, I believe. Cheers. Bye.